So here I am at the place. The tree that fell was much, much bigger than this one. This one is small compared to the one that fell over here. And I always thought this tree was a threat to the house. I told him a long time ago. Lifted up the sidewalk. Wow. And you look at the root system here. It's like the roots were sort of rotting out. That might be armillaria on there. It's usually armillaria that gets black oaks here. There's some of the white fungus. Yeah, there's a hollow white fungus right there. I'm just pulling it out with my fingers. Yeah, the wood is corky in the root system. It's happening to all the oaks here in Napa County, the black oaks, all over the place. One of the first things you want to do in a situation like this, or the first thing you don't want to do, is you don't want to cut anything that is bearing weight and supporting the tree without really considering what you're doing. So this tree's resting on the house, one branch is. The main part's way out here and extends way over into the garden. And it's partially resting on a little tool shed. And so these branches here are bearing weight. So you don't want to take them out when you got a situation like this. You want to leave them. So I'm gonna cut in here, but I'm gonna cut branches that the small ones, just so I can access in here and get in here and work and also see what you're doing. That's one of the first things you can do on a tree job is just get off the small, non-consequential branches that aren't bearing or supporting any weight. Aren't just like some of this stuff that's just here. And you know, people want to get in and go gung-ho right off the bat. That's a problem with tree workers. They want to go gung-ho and just start just fire up the chainsaw and start cutting like a madman. But what you want is you want to think, leave all your branches that are contacting the ground, they're supporting, they're bearing weight. Get all the brush away first so you can see what's going on, so you can get in there and work. And you can actually see what's going on with the skeletal structure of the tree. So you get all this loose stuff off first. So one thing you want to look for too when you're cutting branches in this situation is spring-loaded branches, because a lot of the branches are under pressure and they can spring towards you. I'm wearing a helmet right now and eye protection, ear protection. You always want to, sometimes it'll deceive you even with years of experience. I've had branches that were spring-loaded that looked like they were spring-loaded one way and they actually spring-loaded another way. I mean, you get to where you can kind of read the tree after a while, but sometimes you'll get one that surprises you. So, especially if you're not experienced, you want to be really careful. See, like this guy right here, it's not holding up any weight of the tree. Might as well cut it out of here. Is there's other factors to consider, like for instance when you're doing a tree like this, they can rotate. So when I'm offloading this and as I do this process and I'm cleaning it up and then I start removing the load-bearing branch, the first thing I want to do is get that one off the roof. But first I'm kind of clearing it because I might need to access the lower area in here before I tackle the one that's on the roof. So it's just a total mess in here. It's a shaggy mess. I'm getting this so we can actually walk in here a little bit. So here's the thing. When you're doing this, the tree could shift. It could rotate like this. It's not just bearing weight this way. Like, you know, it fell and then people think its load is going straight down, which 90% of the time it is. 80 to 90% of the time it's simple, it's basic. But these trees always want to shift one way or the other. And I'm getting the feeling from just looking at this, the way it's bearing and loaded, it's going to want to shift this way a little bit. So that branch is, even though it's small, it's helping prevent that. So I could say, well, I'll just take it off and let that one bear the load. But just to be safe, I'm going to leave it. I can duck under this for now. If I need to access timbers, this really gets in my way, I can take this out. I definitely do not want to take out any of these very load-bearing branches. But that's that. The damage to the roof. Crushed the crown end right here. You can see it. So what I'm going to do is get my body in between here and the shed, and I'm going to cut this. I'm going to shove it off away from the building. Here it goes. People might want to stand back because it might bounce. Kids? Anybody down here? Kids? I think I'll tie a running bowline. That's the easiest. There's a running bowline right there. Okay. This guy. Okay, go ahead and slowly release tension on the rope. Well, the trick is, like I was saying early in this, is to take small pieces at a time. Your average chainsaw dude would come out here and try to cut this whole thing off in one piece. But like I always tell you, you go patiently and just take small pieces at a time. Yes. Oh, these pieces are getting heavy. So this is what we're left with. We got it all cleaned up, and we're left with the basic stem, the leader that's leaning on the whole house here. So all the weight that's bearing on this, and it's still attached to the tree, so the tree may be also bearing down on this, the tree that's already fallen over here. And so if I calculate that 50% of the weight is on the crown and the other 50% is on here, then when I release the tension here, that means the remaining rest of the weight of this limb is going to all be on this, because there's not going to be any support here as I remove that section. I'm going to cut from underneath. This will probably go down. We'll see how much it goes down. Got it free. Missed the sidewalk. So we got it down to there. So what I did is I made a relief cut here, a face cut, relief cut, and I'm cutting from underneath to see if this whole thing will just hinge up like that. And this will probably come down a little bit. We'll see what happens.
Not too bad.
It went down with a lot of force. Look how those fractures closed.
Yep.
Those fractures were open and they totally closed.
Yeah, they were.
So this came down a little bit. I wished I could have videoed when I relieved the main tension up in here. There was a couple other places. This is where the impact of the ground was the hardest. Down here, a branch drove into the ground and it buried itself 3 feet deep into the ground. But I took a lot of weight off of this, but it hasn't been moving up at all, which means the roots just totally broke because they had rot. They didn't have any flexibility or ductile resilience to come back up. They just broke. Like a broken tree.